What is up, and I welcome each and every one of you back to a brand new video. I hope you're all having fantastic days. Before we get started, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and did I tell you guys to subscribe? Because that is something you should definitely be doing. We are back, and since we finally completed the New Frontier Pass that came out about a year ago, I think, we can now finally rank all civilizations and leaders on a scale from 1 to 57. There are 57 leaders. We are going to rank every single one of them. Now, before we get started, a little disclaimer. These are obviously my rankings, my opinion, and there is no way anybody is going to have the exact same rankings as me. You know, if you feel like I did one of your favorite civilizations dirty, just comment down below. You know, maybe a good strategy that I haven't thought of, maybe something like I'm not thinking about. Yeah, other than that, this ranking is based on the ease of winning on deity, and it is on single player. Obviously, any civilization can be overpowered on like Prince difficulty, but if you're good on deity difficulty, you're good on every difficulty. Whereas if you're not so good on deity difficulty, you shouldn't be ranked ahead of a civilization that is good on deity, if that makes any sense. And obviously, this is my rankings, my opinion. I have played every civ multiple times, except for maybe Laurier. I think I only played him once. But yeah, without further ado, let's get started. The first civilization we have, Eleanor of England, taking last place for being absolute trash, dog crap, poop, whatever you want to call it. Eleanor of England, not France, mind you, is the worst civilization in the entire game. Let's get, like, her abilities just don't work together. She has that great work ability which reduces loyalty in enemy cities, but unlike the French version, she has no bonuses towards getting any sort of great works. Workshop of the World, the English ability, just... it's a decent ability with Victoria, but it's absolutely trash on Ella. It just doesn't work. The Sea Dog, I don't know how that's going to help you culturally. The Royal Navy Dockyard, it's like England is built to be a domination civ, but Eleanor is built to be a cultural civ, and there's no reason to go Eleanor when you could just go Victoria and get at least some sort of bonuses towards domination. It's just a terrible civ all around. None of her bonuses are really good, except for maybe the Royal Navy Dockyard, and if you're just doing that, her leader ability is absolutely wasted, and you might as well just go somebody else. Second on the list, we have everybody's favorite punching bag, Tamar of Georgia, and oh my god, is she terrible. She can be good, all right? But the problem is so many of her bonuses are situational. It is almost like you have to found a religion. You have no bonuses towards founding a religion. You get more envoys when giving them to city-states, but they have to follow your religion. And you get double faith for 10 turns when declaring a protectorate war. Didn't even know that was a thing until I read about Tamar. I mean, who does that? Like, why and how often are you going to get a protectorate war in a game? And I guess getting the normal age bonus when you get a golden age is nice. But again, you have to get a golden age bonus. And not only that, sometimes it's beneficial to get a dark age so you can go for a heroic age next era. Her walls are absolutely trash. They come in the Renaissance era. They give you some faith way after you could have used it to get a great profit. And just tourism is nice, but that's her only tourism ability. Her unique unit gets a bonus on hills. That's it. What? You get like they're good defensive units, I guess. The walls are a little bit stronger than usual, so you'll be able to defend better as Tamar. But so many of her bonuses are built towards faith, but she doesn't have any bonuses towards getting a great profit. So many of her bonuses are just locked behind these incredibly weird prerequisites. Like you have to get medieval walls and ancient walls, which are dog crap, to get the Renaissance walls. And you need to get a golden age, which is decently hard most of the time, in order to get her strength and unity bonus. And just the envoys and the faith from a protectorate war is just so situational. It's like half the time you're just going to be restarting because you're not getting a religion. The other half the time you're going to make use of her bonuses like 2 or 3 times maximum in a single game. But anyway, taking number 56 is Tamar of Georgia. Number 55 on our list, we have the Black Queen, Catherine de Medici. Her abilities are nothing short of confusing. It's kind of like England in a way, but at least some of her units, some of her abilities complement each other. We have the Catherine Flying Squadron, which give her diplomatic visibilities and extra spy bonuses, which is really just not that good. I mean, it's not bad, but it's not that good. And it doesn't build into any of her other abilities. You got Grand Tour, which gives you production towards wonders in the medieval, Renaissance, and industrial era, which is a pretty wide range, but like not having ancient classical era wonders like China really hampers your abilities for a culture victory. The Guard Imperiale is a decent defensive unit. The Great General points for killing units is fine, but I mean, at that stage of the game, like, it really doesn't add up as much as, say, for example, Alexander's Hetairo unit, which has the same bonus, but in the ancient and classical era when great generals are cheaper, it adds up much quicker. The 10 combat strength bonus is nice, but it has to be on your continent, so it's eh. The Chateau is probably France's kind of redeeming trait. It's a really nice ability, gives you culture, appeal, and gold, and tourism, and more culture as you move throughout the eras, which is extremely nice, and it has to be built next to a river, adjacent to a luxury, which isn't that specific, so you can definitely spam build them. They're definitely better than all the other civs we've listed, but they're just not that good. None of their abilities work together, and like, you want to go for a culture victory, but then the Garde Imperiale and Catherine's Flying Squadron is pretty much useless, and you only have like half your potential abilities, which on deity, it's just like, why do that when you can go for so many other good cultural civs? Next up, we have everybody's favorite OG civ, and pretty much half the guys have made curious drawings of her online. We have Cleopatra, the Mediterranean's bride. Her abilities, like her wonder ability, is even worse, in my opinion, than France's. You get 15% construction towards districts and wonders when placed next to a river. It's like, what? I mean, I guess Ruhr Valley is kind of nice for that, but having to be adjacent to a river kind of locks her potential, and you don't receive damage from floods, but it just, okay. You're not going to notice it in game, but I guess okay. Her trade route ability is nice, but you're going to give other civilizations gold and food from trading with you. Actually, I think it just might be food, but still, giving other civilizations food when trading with you is so bad. The AI already has a massive population advantage when growing cities. Giving them extra food to do that really isn't nice, and the minuscule gold you get from that isn't worth it in the slightest. If you want gold, go Mansa Musa or even go Portugal at that point. I mean, like, if you're gonna go for gold, don't give enemy civilizations food. That's just like, please sir, conquer us. You're asking to get absolutely bent over, and well, we all know what happens next. The Mariano Chariot Archer, it's decent, but you have to hard build it, and that's the problem with ancient and classical era units. Hard building units, especially expensive units like Chariot Archer, is so expensive that most of the time, just build horsemen. Honestly, like, if you had the choice between building Chariot Archers, build horsemen. Do not build these Chariot Archers. You can use horsemen to take cities and do more damage to districts. The Chariot Archers will get a bonus combat reduction debuff when attacking cities. They're good for defense, but I mean, at that point, just go for archers. There's cheaper, you can make more of them, and you only get the movement speed when starting in open terrain, which is just, they're more expensive archers that may or may not get 2 movement speed depending on the tile you end on. And when you're in a war, you can't really control what tiles you can land on, because if you go to an open tile, like a floodplains tile, in range of like 5 different enemy crossbow attacks, you're not going to survive, and it might have been better to just go to a rough terrain tile. But at that point, again, it's just like an archer, a more expensive archer. The Sphinx is really their one really good thing. It gives you culture and faith, and later on tourism, which is nice, but I mean, the faith is too late to help you get a religion or even a pantheon. The culture is nice and does help you go towards a culture victory, but that's really your only cultural bonus. And while they can be spammed, they don't give anything like food or production, so if you end up spamming these, it's just like, you're not going to grow, you're not going to be able to produce anything, and if you're not going to be able to do that, I don't care how strong your culture is. If you can't produce wonders, you're not going to be able to build them. It's just that simple. Cleopatra is, in my opinion, better than France, because the, what's it called? The Mediterranean's Bride and the Sphinx, they kind of work to get, like, her abilities work together a lot more than France, so she does get a little bit higher, but not by much. She is sitting all the way down at 54. Next up, we have the leader that is staring out a window as Faraxis gives all his bonuses to Portugal, to Byzantium, and to, quite honestly, everyone else in the game who isn't Philip. This guy got screwed over so badly. He used to be the civ that was like, you use your faith to conquer other civilizations, but even back then, it wasn't the best ability, and Byzantium just does it 100 times better, right? He has Treasure Fleet, which gives you bonuses for trade routes on other continents, but Portugal does it 100 times better. The Conquistador gets a bonus combat strength when next to a religious unit, but I mean, it's like, you have to hard build them, at least I'm fairly certain, and how many religious units are you really gonna have to be in the same hex as a Conquistador? Like, you're not getting that much combat strength, quite honestly, and the city automatically adopting your religion is just stupid. Like, if you, like, you don't get any combat strength from, like, attacking a civ that is another religion from you. I mean, you get his leader ability, which gives you a whopping 4 combat strength. Whoa, my bad, hold the horses, he is the best civ in the game. Like, 4 combat strength is almost nothing, especially on the higher difficulty. abilities. The 4 combat strength against civs following your religion kind of counteracts his like religious incentive, sort of. He's not incentivized to get a religious victory, he's incentivized to use it to boost his domination victory, but Byzantium does it 100 times better. You don't get any bonuses towards finding a religion either, so half the time you're not even going to get a religion, and if you spend all your resources towards finding a religion, you're not going to be going for an early war, and because of that, you're not going to be able to catch up to the AI and declare war on them until the modern era, and at that point your conquistadors are obsolete, and you might as well just go for another victory type if you're starting a war in the modern era. The mission it's nice, but it has to be on another continent to really get any sort of good bonuses. Otherwise, you're just getting 2 faith, right? Cities on your continent, you can't build missions on them. You're getting 2 faith. Now, on another continent, they're pretty decent, but most of your cities are going to be on your continent, and the bonuses don't justify the means, I guess you could say. The treasure fleet is probably their best ability, but that's not saying much. I guess they're kind of good, the dollar store version of Basil, so they are better than all the civilizations lower than them, but the reason they're sitting at 53 is because they are absolute garbage. Next up, we have Poundmaker of the Cree. Now, I know I'm going to get some hate for this, but obviously this is my list, my opinion. Comment down below if you think this is wrong, but Poundmaker isn't really that good. You get a little bit of food and gold from trade routes that have a camp or pasture, which is nice, but Portugal does that 100 times better. You get 1 free trade route when researching pottery, but Portugal does it 100 times better. Mansa Musa does it 100 times better. The unique scout unit is decent, but I mean, usually scouts aren't that good anyway, and are you really going to be promoting through the scout tree? You're really going to be getting skirmishers and spec ops unit? No, it's not worth it. It's not worth building these guys. Like, you should get warriors if you want to go for an early war, because you can at least upgrade them to swordsmen, right? They're decent, but they're like below average scout units solely because they're scout replacements. Free promotion is nice, but scout promotions really aren't that good. They make you up, their unique infrastructure, and oh my god, talk about butchering that. You get production, housing, and gold if adjacent to a luxury. And every 2 bonus resources, you get more food, production, and gold. Like, it's a pretty damn good unique improvement, but it just doesn't make up for all their other underwhelming improvements. We're getting sort of to the stage now where these civilizations from Poundmaker onwards aren't bad, but they're like below average. Like, on a tier list, they would be like C or high D tier. Like, they're not terrible, but their bonuses are just like marginal improvements with maybe 1 or good actual improvement. Like in this case, the Mikawap. Obviously, I think this is going to be the most controversial one on the list. So if you have a different opinion, comment down below. You might change my mind. There are 57 civs after all, and you know, it kind of fluctuates day to day which civs you think are good or bad. Next up, we have Victoria of England. Her abilities synergize a lot better than Eleanor, because when you find a city on a continent for the first time, you get a trade route, and you get an extra naval unit for constructing a Royal Navy dockyard, and the military science does give you redcoats, so they synergize a lot better, but the reason she isn't higher on the list is the abilities are just like average or above average. They're not really, she doesn't really have one that makes you go, oh my god, incredible. Like, the Royal Navy dockyard is nice, but there are plenty of other districts that provide a lot better than, you know, the movement speed or the gold, and she really only does well on other continents. Like, that's where most of her bonuses come in, which, you know, it's really not that good relying on other continents because they're less defensible and because you're going to be able to get less cities on them. So for those reasons, we have Victoria sitting all the way there at number 51. At number 50 exactly, we have Gandhi of India. Gandhi is a strange civilization. He wants to meet civilizations, get faith from them, and then spread every single religion throughout his empire. He wants as many follower bonuses as possible. It's nice, and it helps you when it comes to amenities and when it comes to faith, I suppose. But I mean, the Stepwell is a decent improvement. The Varu is a decent unit, but it's mostly defensive. He just doesn't have anything that pushes him towards a victory type. If you go for a religious victory, you're sacrificing your entire civilization ability and your leader ability, because it's just like you want as many religions as possible, but you don't really have a certain goal. Like, there's no domination bonus, no religious bonus, no culture bonus. You know what I mean? So it's like he's a decent civilization, but he doesn't really have an affinity for any victory type, pretty much. At number 49, we have Gorgo of Greece, and my god, she could definitely go a lot lower. Ooh, they're trash. The one reason she's this high is because of her wildcard policy slot, and the Acropolis is a pretty decent culture hub thing. But her leader ability, you get culture for killing units, about half their combat strength. You have no other bonuses towards combat. You have no combat bonuses. Your Hopalite is probably the worst unique unit in the game. You get 10 combat strength if there's an adjacent Hopalite, but against warriors, you're going to be struggling with these Hopalite units. So it's just like the other Greece, Pericles is a lot better because he focuses solely on culture, but here she gets bonus for killing units, but she doesn't have a bonus to kill units, if that makes sense. You're going to get some culture, but her leader ability might be one of the worst in the game along with her unique unit. And after Gorgo, we have Wilfrid Laurier of Canada. Yes, it is pronounced Laurier. I know my French. The last best West is pretty decent. His problem is he is the worst early game Civ ever to exist. Not just in Civ 6, ever. You're telling me he can't declare war, no surprise wars, and if you denounce someone, they're just going to get prepared to declare war on you. Yes, he is defensive early game. The Mounties can create national parks, and the ice hockey rinks are slept on, but you have to settle towards Tundra to get the most out of his bonuses, which don't kick into the late game. So you just have no bonuses early on, which is the most important part of Deity, but his bonuses later on in the game are so good that he gets all the way up to number 48 as it is. But the reason he isn't higher is because his early game bonuses and his inability to declare a surprise war just makes him almost bad, I guess, on Deity, like overall wise. After Wilfrid, we have Kublai Khan, China. Kublai Khan. Now, the reason he is so low, despite the fact that he's a New Frontiers passive, which should be extremely strong theoretically, his abilities are just trash. You get an economic policy slot. Okay, it's like a watered-down version of Greece. And you get a Eureka and inspiration from establishing a trading post in another civilization for the first time. So you're going to be getting like 7 or 8 total inspirations or Eurekas, and they're going to give a 10% extra bonus due to China's leader ability, but he doesn't give any bonuses towards culture, which is what China tries to do. And these abilities are just below average combined. Like with the other China, at the very least, you can build wonders early on, which helps towards culture. But with this China, he just gets like, it's just all over the place. Like you get a little bit more science and culture over the course of an entire game, which isn't worth it. And the Crouching Tiger is nice, as is the Great Wall, but it doesn't make up for the lackluster synergy and leader ability. Next up at number 46, we have Jin Ji Hwang. Man, I might as well work at a meat facility because I am a goat at butchering names. He's better than Kublai Khan for sure, but the ancient and classical era wonders, spending builder charges to get them is good, but it only works for the first 2 eras when you should be settling your empire, going through an early war, and just this ability makes it so that you're going to be a lot weaker later on in the game, despite the fact that you get wonders. He's really feast or famine. If you get 4 to 5 wonders, you're golden. If not, you're actually going to be worse than you would be with any other Civ. Dynastic Cycle and Great Wall is pretty nice. Canals are unlocked with Masonry is also nice, and the additional charge on builders is really good. Overall, his abilities just average, below average, and he can either be one of the best civs in the game or one of the worst depending on your luck, which is why we have him at number 46 overall. And at number 45, we are looking at Latoro of the Mapuche. That is right. Latoro is, the only reason he isn't last place is because Toki gives you massive experience bonuses, and the Golden Age combat strength bonus is, it's a coin flip, right? Classical era, if the enemy AI you're going after is in a Golden Age, you destroy them. Easy. If they're not, it doesn't really matter too much because you get a massive experience boost when you train units in a city with a governor, but Swift Talk is a trash bonus. Losing loyalties for defeating an enemy, you'd have to defeat 5 enemies to make a city lose loyalty, and then it would just go back to the enemy civilization because they have positive loyalty, so it's kind of useless. Malone Raider it's pretty bad. Pillaging costs 1 movement. You could literally get that as a promotion. And combat strength within 4 hexes. How does that work, right? You get a bonus combat strength when you're near your territory, but you get a pillage bonus when you're in enemy territory. It's just conflicting abilities. And then the Chimamil seems decent, but it has to be on Breathtaking Appeal, which completely destroys any benefit that it might have had, which isn't that much, to be quite honest with you. Next up at number 44, we have Jadwiga of Poland. And now before the tier 3 simps come at me, let me explain myself. Jadwiga, she's alright. The relics really isn't that important because you would need to get apostles to get them in serious numbers. And it's like the Congo does them better because you actually get food and production with the Congo when it comes to relics. The culture bomb bonus really doesn't matter because how often are you really going to be culture bombing enemy civilizations? And even if you are, like, converting them to your religion is nice, but those cities should already be converted to your religion if they're that near to your territory. And again, she has no bonuses to founding a religion, which means half her bonuses are absolutely useless if you can't found a religion. The culture bomb bonus is nice. The wildcard bonus is nice. The winged hussar is a decent unit, and her unique market is pretty nice, but again, not game breaking. So we have Jadwiga down at 44. After Jadwiga, we have Hojo Toki Moon of Japan. Again, this is single player. I think he's a little bit stronger in multiplayer, but he receives combat bonus when he's on the coast. That's really situational. My God. He gets bonuses to building districts, but they're the districts you never want, like theater squares, commercial, holy sites, and encampments. Not receiving damage from hurricanes it might as well not be in the game. Hurricanes rarely come. And double unit damage from hurricanes when you're at war with Japan. Again, it might happen once or twice every few 100,000 years, but other than that, it's not that good. The adjacency bonus is a really strong bonus, but the samurai is trash. Divine wind is trash. Electronics factory is decent. Magi restoration doesn't sort of combat all these bonuses that are just subpar, so that is why Japan is sitting at 43. All the way down at number 42, we have Harold Hardrada. Yes, Harold, he is either really good or really bad. It depends on how you're going to make use of your Viking longships. The Nar ability is decent. You can enter ocean tiles earlier, but Hoope does that beginning of the game. The Berserkers are trash units. They're good when attacking, but trash when defending, and because of that, it's just, if you kill a unit, you're just in such a vulnerable position, and you have to hard build these guys, so it really isn't worth it at the end. Just get any other unit. Berserkers, don't build them. Stave Church is decent, but most of the time, you're just going to be getting Viking longships and pillaging everything within a 5 billion mile radius. If you're able to pillage but tons of tiles, you'll be able to get so much science, gold, culture, and faith, and that is why they're sort of middle of the pack. Their one ability, Thunderbolt of the North, with the Viking longships, could potentially make them top tier if they had other decent supporting abilities, but they don't. And because of that, they are sitting all the way down at number 42, which isn't too bad, but again, they could be better considering they have some of the best unique abilities in the game. Second to last civ we're talking about today, Tarja of Indonesia. I think it's Malaysia, right? I keep getting those two mixed up. I'm sorry if I'm offending anybody, but it's Indonesia. Okay. They're nice abilities, but you have to buy naval units with faith, which seems nice, and the amenities you get from building districts next to the coast or lake is also nice, but again, how many districts are you going to be building adjacent to the coast or lake? The Kampong is decent. The Jong isn't really that strong. It replaces the frigate and gets marginal combat bonus when you're in an escort, but how many escorts are you going to make? How much faith are you going to have to be able to buy naval units, right? It's just like her abilities synergize well, and they are decent. They're all like average abilities. None of them go above and beyond, and for that reason, she is just an average civilization. And the last civ we're talking about is Lady Six Guy, and my God, am I gonna get hate for that. Lady Six Guy, weird is how I describe her, weird. Her abilities work when you're closer to the capital. You don't get any bonuses towards housing, you don't get any bonuses towards like fresh water or anything like that, so your early growth is curbed, and you don't get those bonuses until you put out builders. When you put out builders, fine, that's good. But if you're wasting all that time building builders, which scales, by the way, for each builder you get, it's just really not that good. And considering you have to be within 6 tiles of your capital, or else you get a massive yield penalty, it just isn't worth it when you could, it's just worse than compared to a normal civilization. I would rather have a normal civilization than have her leader ability and have her Mayab ability, which gives housing for each farm, but no housing from freshwater tiles. It just curbs your growth early on, and you have to end up buying the builders or spending 40-50 turns hard building them. The unique archer replacement is decent when fighting wounded units, I'll give them that. The observatory is really strong, and like Canada, they're either really good or really bad. If you can get past their trash early phase, which is hard by the way, they can be really strong. But why not play somebody like, for example, Korea? Play Korea, go for an early war, take out as many civs, and then coast to an easy science victory. I just don't get it. She's still at number 40 because if you can get past that bad early phase, she is extremely strong later on in the game, but it's just not that good and not all that she is hyped up to be, pretty much. That's going to conclude this part of the tier list series. Again, like, comment, subscribe. And yeah, if you guys have any problems with this tier list, just let me know down below what your guys' opinion is on this. Maybe there is some strategy that I have no idea about that makes these civs a lot stronger than they appear to be. But yeah, I'll see you all in the next video. Peace.